Hello, and welcome to Stop Now, a social experiment enterprise where we stop, listen, and share. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be back for another week of our talk show here at Stop Now. I am Nate, one of your hosts. So glad to be back with you. And we have got a good show for you guys this week. So let's introduce the team here. First of all, joining us again, we have Amer. Amer, how are you this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Ned. I'm fine, thank you, and nice to see you again.
Yes, it's nice to be seen, Amer. Any day you can wake up, that's a good day in my book, sir. Glad to have you with us this week, and of course, we wouldn't be the team without our fearless leader, the voice of the voiceless, the man behind the mask, the man behind the scenes, making sure everything runs on time. JK is back with us this week. JK, how are you?
I'm good, Nate. I think we can add like some claps and those the Daily Show they do that, right? So in the TV, and probably when you introduce me, like we should do that music, drums, or other things. I'm quite excited this week because I wanted to share and started sharing that already. And you got an offer, right? So what did I tell you? When I start working on your profile, our team is a little bit slacking on it, but this is what you get it right now. It's your turn again, once again, like you want like to do this background verification and all those things to work for this $1 billion company. So you got the offer and now it is your decision, right? You have to provide all these documentation. I don't want like to harass you. This is what they are asking. They are asking us like to fill all these forms, do the background before you get onboarded or not. But the problem here is they are exploiting it to the maximum and it's a very low bill rate for the project. So I was trying to negotiate and try to get it more and almost like at least a $50 for us to cover the expenses, and you also can get paid. So but then they are giving a tough time. But then I told them, hold on, I have to make a decision. But it's not my call to make. I'm just bringing that up like to you. What do you want to do?
So, did is this the Bank of America job?
No, this is with the telecom company.
Okay. Uh, so what are they offering? What's the rate?
$50.
And what and they want us to fill out that all of that information for $50?
No, $50 per hour, right? When you start working on it, right? So 8 hours per day, like it will be $400.
Okay.
For
You know, my services don't come cheap, JK.
Yes, certainly, we understand that, right? So, and this is not a volunteering thing. So, obviously, we wanted to aim for bigger payroll, or even
Yes.
Amar knows that, right? He has been working on your profile, submitting it, and he has been submitting it like for even 100 plus 120 per
Yeah,
annum,
right.
all those things. But this one got materialized. The reason being is I'll tell you the background story on that. So
Okay.
somehow like our team like was quite fascinated and they just randomly said like yes to all the emails and they confirmed it like for $35, which is the lowest bar like in the contracting world. So the commission is huge. That's why like the vendor pushed hard, and also it looks like TCS managers are involved in it. They reached out and said like, oh, you have. They offered this email, and then they asked like, oh, we need a one round of interview, final interview with the end client managers.
Okay.
They want to see you again, and said I was taken back. Like, what is this? Like, you have given the offer, and then like again you are going to interview. even after joining the company,
Hmm.
they will interview, it seems like. I said like, okay, fine, whatever that is, I'm okay with it, but I have to negotiate on the rate
Hmm.
because you are going back and I also want to go back. I cannot accept 35. That's how like I pushed the thing and
Okay.
did one more round of interview, and we have played that in our experiment daily show. Some of the clips we exposed those video interviews itself.
Mm.
But right now where we stand is like, we want your consent, your authorization, because you have to do the background, you have to go for the drug test. If you are on drugs right now, I don't know how you are going to clear that. Certainly, again, that is up to you and the team to take this
Yes.
forward, right? So if they are able to uh, join the project and work for a couple of months, then we will get good amount. That's for sure. And but that's not the point, right? So we are trying to expose this
Yeah.
and investigate how these corporate network of corruption and fraud is perpetrated by the individuals, employees. And interestingly, like I recently read a news article, I was talking to Amar on a daily show. I wanted your viewpoint on that. So, have you come across, right? Because this was a recent news in one of the tech giant company back in India. They fired 300 employees for moonlighting.
Mm.
So, have you ever heard about it or come across?
No, I hadn't heard this story, but it doesn't sound that far off from what a corporation would do. A corporation that's probably not paying their employees all that much, and so they're, like you said, they're moonlighting, trying to make money on the side, uh, and then the company finds out and just fires all of them because the company doesn't care. Because as we've said before on the show, JK, the companies are invested in the numbers game. They're invested in the profit, and the workers are just disposable pieces that can be moved in and moved out whenever they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So even for our team, right, to help us out in this project, it is like more on some of them like even work on these big companies like
Mm-hmm.
full time on the day job. And in the evenings, the question is like, okay, what I do in my free time at my home
Mm-hmm.
not be a concern for you, right?
Yeah.
So why should you bother? Like, many people say this like proudly, right? As a single parent or a single mom, I work 2, 3 jobs to cover my expenses. And when people are kept in such low standard, they have to do all that is possible for them, like because of their family need, they are doing
Mm-hmm.
these things. And how can you justify like not people to do that? Then you pay me more, right? So if you are going to pay me more, like I'm not going to do anything else, I'm not going to look for anything else. And also I don't have any guarantee that like I'll be there like even for 1 year or even 6 months is not guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So people who are being hired on contract, you can terminate without any reason, without giving any not even just a courtesy uh, call, right? Saying that you just backstab, saying, okay, I inform the vendor at the end of the day, like you sign off, hand over a
Mm-hmm.
laptop,
Mm-hmm.
and threatening like to get the laptop is what is happening there, right? So when you can be cruel, obviously, like the employees will also do the same, right? I will not be able to focus on my job. While I'm on my job, I'll be looking for another job or doing other jobs, right? That's exactly what everybody is doing. And I just read that story, like it was very heartbreaking. Like we can't take sides, right? Again, the same problem. If you become an employer, right, you
Mm-hmm.
are running a company, you are running a project, a team, the same struggle for us also, right? As a nonprofit, we are expecting like people to commit, and though we cannot pay that much, right, for volunteering, like we pay them like whatever we can. Even with that, like commitment is becoming difficult, right? People expect certain things and they don't turn up, or
Mhm.
they just drop off. So much struggle is there, right? From that standpoint, I understand, okay, how difficult it is for even the bigger corporates to hire people, retain them, get the work done. And if I am paying them like big money, I expect them like to perform,
Mm.
and they don't do anything. They just sit around slack, and then like at the end of the day, like if they go back home and do a different job for the same company or for a different company, competitors, right,
Mm.
competitors are there, and they work late night. Even the sorry state, like though we are doing it for good for our experiment, we are in a way exploiting our team members who are based in India. They work late night, and even Amar can talk about it, right? Every day, like if he is awake till 3 or 4, he's not going to get up for work at 7 o'clock and get
Mm.
ready and go to office. Even if he does, like he's going to go and sleep in the office. Sure. Like, what do you say, Amar?
Yeah, that's true.
So the question, Nate, like, what is the solution? What do you
Mm.
think? Like, can you think of something of?
And I think, part of it is what you're talking about, where you've got employees that are kind of burning the candle at both ends, where they're working at their primary job and then they're coming home and, you know, working their side jobs, maybe for a competitor, as you mentioned. And to me, it comes down to what what are the expectations of the employer, and also what are the needs of the employee. And I think something that's kind of happened over the last couple of years, JK, is the employees feel like they have a little bit more say in what they do, because for 2 years a lot of people worked from home and didn't have to go into the office every day, and so they found other ways to do their jobs. And now we're in a situation where we're kind of getting back to normal. And so employees are like, you know what? I can go into the office for 8 hours, 9 hours, but then I can come home and work this job on the side. And so you get to a place where it's got to be, and I'm not going to use the word fair because I don't feel like a lot of things in life are fair, but you got to get to a point where it's beneficial to both the employer and the employee. And so when you're looking at these companies, and we've seen it during the experiment, like there are levels. Nobody's 100% a good guy in this situation. Not the companies, not the recruiters. It's kind of everybody's doing what they have to do, and so I tend to side with the employees just because I'm an employee most of the time. I'm very rarely the boss or the project manager in the work that I do. So I tend to side with the employees, but at a certain point, there is a bit of responsibility, to your current job, to your main job, and if you don't want to do that, there are consequences for that. And so, yeah, like going back to the story about these 300 people that were fired, you feel bad for them, because nobody wants to see anybody lose their job, but you kind of understand in a way, even though it feels wrong, JK, to kind of get on the side of the corporation, but you kind of understand why they did what they did.
I mean, we can quote different analogy, right? So it is like they expect the contractual obligation, right? So when they
Mm-hmm.
sign, like different countries have different laws, and they say like, okay, you committed that like you will not work for any competitors, and you have signed the NDA and all those
Mm-hmm.
things, and the trade secret, and it is all like a high value, right, for them. And when they allow them, like it's like I'm not going into morality of it, like morals, and obviously there are certain business ethics that they want their customers, like because they are serving their customers and clients, and obviously it's like uh, you're not married to your job, right? And
Yeah.
I don't expect you to be even people who are married, right? They cheat, and it's like kind of what we are known to, and that is why like it's so funny, like you expect somebody to be you are not treating them in a fair manner. That is the
Yeah.
case, right? Why they are doing that. And the other side of it is the society has become so corrupt and everything is okay for everybody else. That's why like they are uh, looking at others. Okay, my boss is making more money and I am not getting anything.
Mm-hmm.
I do all the work and I'm not getting promoted. And they don't know how to take out that frustration, right? So they know that like I'm going to get fired no matter what. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's try out like some other job as a side gig, and I'm not going to. The problem they face it. The reason I think, to be fair on both sides, is people don't commit during their because of working from home, right? So these
Mm-hmm.
IT jobs, they can manage like two jobs at the same time within the same hour, right? Just because the meetings alone and the work that they can do it
Mm-hmm.
outside of it, they are trying to exploit that. And when this gets escalated and large number, many people started doing, and it spills out, right? Somebody will talk about it and they will say that guy is doing 2 3 jobs, and people get greedy, right? Well, how come he alone get to do that? Why not me? And many people have hesitated like returning back to office. That is the reason. If you are in the office, obviously you cannot work from the office for the other company,
Yeah.
will get caught. So that is why like they prefer to remain remote, and it is kind of in a way cheating, right? That is being done by the employees. That's the reason like corporates are taking this stand. And in this case, like why I have to, I'm not taking side. Why I have to see the uh, point of corporates is, though they are doing bad, this is justifiable because they expect some kind of standard for you
Mm-hmm.
to perform, right? If you are performing, obviously they are not going to fire you. If you are doing your job, at least not even exceeding the expectation, uh, just doing your job alone is, they are not going to lose a person.
It's kind of like to go back to your marriage analogy. It's kind of like if the husband is never home, he's always at work, and he's stealing money from his company while he's at work. That's wrong, but it also doesn't give the wife permission to cheat on the husband. It's like two things can be wrong at the same time, JK. The corporations can be mistreating or not fairly compensating the employee, but also if you're working for a competitor, or you've got industry secrets that you're using to work for another company, then that's not a proper solution either. And so it's like both sides can be wrong at the same time.
So my problem comes here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there is no fixed solution to these things, right? Again, they will circle back. That is what we are trying to expose here. The corporate will justify saying that, like, oh, you are not fair, like we fired you. And the employees can also say the same thing. Oh, good luck with it. Let me see like who comes and works for you in a good way, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
try to hunt and recruit people in a wrong way. That is what the recruitment industry itself, hiring itself has become a corrupt standardized practice. They don't check anything, right? They go by even the fun fact Amar can talk about. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants to see the person's ID and gather all the privacy information even before interviewing, right? And also going by social media standard, checking your LinkedIn profile and asking you to have your picture and photo in that. So you are violating all that, and people are trying to, okay, how do you get at somebody who is doing wrong? By being good, you cannot attack the wrong person, right? You have to be bad, like to do the damage. That is how I see this
Mhm.
an ongoing issue, and it is kind of a war between, right? You are the boss, right? You do what you want the same way. Like I know what I am capable of, and whatever the minimum damage I can do, I will do that. So the simple example on the offer, right? Going back to the offer you got. So you are not involved in that in any way,
Mhm.
but still anybody can do it, right? So we have proved this over and over and over again, like in the last 1 year, right? So many projects, so many companies, right? Almost every other companies, every other banks, every other corporate. So that is where my struggle to solve these problem. It looks like you cannot solve. It is an impossible mission.
Hmm. It's kind of like a lot of the other issues that we talk about here at Stop Now, JK. Whether you're talking about human trafficking or racism or any of these other big issues that we discuss, are you going to be able to fix it or stop it? Probably not, at least not in our lifetime. So then the question becomes, what do you do? What can you do to, if you can't stop the bad thing from happening? Now I'm starting to sound like Spider-Man. When the bad things happen, JK, and you can stop them, and you don't, then that's your fault. Sound like Peter Parker, who also I think got fired during our experiment. But when you when bad things are going on and you can't stop it, can you at least mitigate some of the damage? Can you at least make it better for a few people? Can you at least make things a little bit more fair and a little bit more just? And I think that's part of what we're doing and what other folks are doing in this process. But it's an uphill battle because the system is the way it is because the system works and people are making money off of this system, and it's at all of the levels of what's going on with this. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it, JK. But the question is, can we make things better? Can we bring awareness to what's going on? Can we at least help some people in this situation? And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
one-sided again. You brought that right on time, Peter Parker. Peter is back, and Amar is Peter.
Yes, now I am using the Peter ones. So okay, I think one day they will understand after seeing those documents or evidence we are keeping on YouTube. One day they will, if they will see one day, then they can imagine that what they are doing wrong. Yeah. So by this way, I think it will take time actually to change this system.
Mm,
It will not change overnight. One day, of course, it will be changed. And yes, still now the billion-dollar companies they are doing the same. They are hiring people by third-party organization, and they are taking some commission. We all know that. Yeah, still, I think the problem is going on. So we can also going with this experiment and let's see what happens and what can we do for this end. We are just trying to make some awareness as net share. Of course, people are uh, going to be benefited if they will see or watch our documents or videos. Yeah.
I mean, Amar, I'm not disagreeing to it. Both you and Nate mentioned that, right? So the awareness and creating this was our initiative, and we are kind of exposing it as if like nobody knows that, right? It's like everybody knows the truth. It's like it's not a secret, and they are aware of it, but they are trying to use this as a loophole.
mm,
Okay, You mean to say like I don't know that? Yes, I know this. And people who commit these crimes, obviously knowing that, just like how for the sake of experiment we are doing it, right? They are aware of it that the consequences will not impact them. That is what makes them like to do these things. I just can go back to the politics again, Nate. It will take longer time, just like the former president, right? So he
Hmm.
doesn't learn anything, right? In spite of all the accumulating evidence of corruption, fraud, crime by him, he continues to do that because
Hmm.
he knows like I can escape from that. That is why like he is doing it. So the same thing applies to everybody else, right? Let's see like what happens. I'll do whatever I want. It is not that like they are ignorant and they don't know that and they fall trap of it, including the human trafficking, right?
Hmm.
Whether it is labor trafficking or sex trafficking, unless it's a child and it's a child abuse or rape, it's a different story altogether. But all the other things, if the human is not capable of understanding what he is doing and then saying that like, oh, I didn't know that, like I did that, come on, like I don't buy that argument.
Hmm.
So everybody is aware of it, and they recruiters, right? We have been talking to recruiters, so many people, right? Even in thousands. Already we have covered more than thousand. Everybody says the same statement. They do. They are being trained to lie, and they do know that, and they don't care. All I care is like I need to get paid, and I am doing
Hmm.
my job. So when doing fraud is your job, then how do you stop? Like that's why like I said like it's a mission impossible. We need a Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise to solve this.
So then we got Tom Cruise, we got Spider-Man, we got the whole team put together. But I think part of it is, because you mentioned awareness. So to go back to that, I think a lot of times things don't change until the public gets angry and make enough noise. They make enough noise that companies, they may not change 100%, but they'll adjust things, because of that public pressure and the public shaming. I think sometimes that's the only effective tool that normal, everyday, average folks have against these systems and these corporations is their voice and their wallets or their purses. The power of the dollar, JK, can make people change sometimes quicker than a good argument or doing the right thing. So it's a combination of making these stories known, letting people know what's happening, how it's affecting folks, and then what are ways, that with your voice or with your dollar or with your social media presence that you can put pressure on these companies, because yes, it is a very impossible mission, and we don't have Tom Cruise to lead us on this, JK. But I think, and we talked about this a few weeks ago when or maybe a couple months ago now, when we were talking about We the People Inc. There is something to people coming together for a cause that can make things happen, but it's got to start somewhere. The snowball that goes down the hill and turns into an avalanche has to start somewhere. So through this experiment, through the shows, through talking to different people, bringing their stories to light. Hopefully, that is the start of the avalanche that can make change.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said it right. So with that note, we will wrap up this week episode and probably bring in some experts or
Mhm.
special guests next week, and we'll talk about more on this.
Yeah, I do want to apologize to Amer, JK. I realized I did Amer wrong this episode. Amer, I apologize for letting people know that you are Peter Parker. I didn't want your secret identity as Spider-Man to get out to the world, so I apologize, my friend. But yes, this was another good episode. Thank you everybody for watching. Amer, any last words?
No, I think it's okay, as you told, and all we are discussed. I think we can continue with that. That's it for today.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us again, Amir. We always appreciate you and the
Yeah.
hard work you're doing with the experiment. JK, any final thoughts?
Final word. Bye for now.
Bye for now.